Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 117 of the 476 podcast. For today's episode, we're going to talk about the standings and take a spin around the NBA. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhyme that are coming from my mind.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Fuck it. I can't speak English. Most people would just cut this out, but not me. You know what I mean? I give you that real. I give you the real. This is real, raw, uncut. Too raw for the streets. Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I mean? Wu-Tang Clan coming at. Watch your step, kid. Watch your step. Best protect your neck. Watch your step, kid. I'm sorry. That was left. I've given myself a time limit, so I have to get to the thing here. So let's talk real quick. Talk about the last two Sixers games. Real quick. Before I talk about before there'll be a podcast for tonight's game, I believe. I forgot who we play tonight. So obviously we beat the Pistons. We tried to give that game back. It's just what we do. Doc Rivers just wants to find creative ways to give up a lead. It just never fails. Joel hits, a big fuck you three-pointer at the end of regulation. Well, not during, but with like a minute left, that really kind of pushes the game out of reach, and that's that. We beat the Hawks. That was great. Listen, we didn't exercise any demons by beating the Hawks. Let's be clear. It was a good win. If you're going to blow Ben for his defense last year, then you got to blow Tyrese for his defense on Trae Young in that game, because there's a bunch of stats circulating about Trae Young shooting numbers against Tyrese while Tyrese was guarding him. So you got to keep that same energy, as me and the homie Fred like to say, keep that same energy. Also, we are second in offensive rating in the NBA, which, not a surprise when you don't have a player in your starting lineup who has no offensive talent. It kind of does make sense. You spread the floor a little bit better, and we're shooting lights out. You know what I mean? Listen, it's a little overblown. We're beating up on some bad teams. The Hawks win was a quality win for sure, although they haven't been the same. And we'll get to some of the reasons why why the Hawks may not be the same. But, good quality win. Let me see if I can find out who we play real quick tonight. Boop, 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 boop. Thinking. That's what we do. This laptop is awful, so this may take a second. We play Portland. That's right. Yeah, we play Portland, and then we play Chicago on Wednesday. Portland isn't playing great. They lost. I think they lost last night, if I remember correctly. They lost last night to the Hornets. Dame has not been the same. We'll get to that. All right, let's start talking. So the Knicks are good. I thought they'd be better this year. Julius Randle was taking another mini leap over last year. I don't even know if he took a leap or if he just has more floor spacing. You just have more floor spacing options on the floor. You have a legitimate point guard, legitimate-ish point guard in Kemba, somebody who has been around, can hit open shots and come off screens, can create his own shot. You just have upgrades up and down the roster. RJ scored 35 the other day, which is a career high for him, but has been playing great defense all season. They're legit. You know what I mean? Obviously, they beat us. We should have won that game, but, what are you going to do? They beat us. You know what I mean? So, I'm sorry. No, we shouldn't have won that game. They just beat the shit out of us. They're a good team. Would I say they're championship material? Absolutely not. No, they're not championship material. But are they good? Yeah, absolutely. They are definitely good. Chicago, another good team. They just had two quality wins, I believe. I want to say they lost their first test of the season. That was the fourth game, right? No. Okay, maybe their first quality win was last night against Utah, or Saturday against Utah. Really good win. They are one of the best offensive teams in the NBA. Their defense has been good. They just lost Patrick Williams, though. He might be out for the rest of the regular season, which is a shame. He was, he's been their best defender, their best one-on-one defender, even though I got to give credit to Zach LaVine. He's been playing really good defense. DeMar DeRozan is playing really good defense. We'll see how much this is going to spread throughout the regular season. It's early on in the season. They want to set a bit of a tone. And the tone is set. The message is set. They're legit, and they want everyone to know they're legit. They're playing really good defense. Their offense is incredible. It's not really a surprise to me. Lonzo plays good defense, but Lonzo's biggest contribution to me is, the way he point guards, is someone who doesn't need the ball in his hands, is someone who, he's just going to move the ball. He doesn't have a problem getting hockey assists. You know what I mean? And as opposed to a lot of the other point guards, your traditional point guards who are floor generals. You know what I mean? Lonzo just wants to make everyone a little bit better, and he's doing that. You know what I mean? He's become a reliable shooter. DeMar is shooting reliably from three. Zach is just great. You know what I mean? I just can't believe that the idea that we could trade Ben for Zach, it could ever be legitimate in any person's mind, or that the idea that somehow they would have to give up more to get Ben for Zach. To me, I mean, I've heard people say that over the last few months is just a high to me. Zach would immediately make us a threat. You know what I mean? A far better threat. The problem would be that we don't still have a point guard. But I don't, honestly, if you told me you're replacing Seth with Zach LaVine, I'm doing that 100 times out of 100. That's probably not going to happen, but just the point. They're a legit team. They have some bench help there. It's a couple of Josh Greens or They have a Jeff Green on their team. They have a Josh Green on their team, I believe, as well. Or a Jalen Green. I don't remember. They have a Jay Green. They have two Jay Greens on their bench who are playing really well. I don't even think Kobe White. I think Kobe White might be injured, but he's just another trade chip. They could trade him for something, get a little upgrade. Vucevic has been solid. I mean, they'd probably be better off getting a more defensive center. You know what I mean? Kind of in that spot, almost like the Vucevic trade, whatever. If Wendell Carter could have been healthy or been anything, but you traded Daniel Gafford. There's just so many guys that could have been there. Like I get, Vucevic is okay. I just, what's their ceiling when your center is just a zilch on defense? I mean, he is awful defensively, so I don't really know. The Wizards look kind of legit. I don't know what to make of the Wizards. I've watched a couple of Wizards games. They haven't been completely healthy all season. Like Bradley Beal's been kind of in and out the lineup. Spencer Dinwiddie's been in and out the lineup. Neither one of them been shooting particularly well, and yet they're 5-1. They beat the Celtics in a two, went to double overtime, I believe. And I don't know. I don't really know what to make of it. They have a lot of guys, though. I know that they have a ton of wing players, obviously, that are like legit guys. You would want them in a rotation, whether it be Kyle Kuzma or I like Denny Advia a lot. When Rui comes back, if he comes back, whatever's going on with him, I think he's dealing with like a mental health thing. He just adds another dynamic player. Eventually, they're going to get who's their center? What the hell was his name? I know last year I kept calling him Tommy Davis, which was the linebacker for the Panthers. Man, his face, Thomas Bryant. I'm sorry. Thomas Bryant is a solid backup center for them. Now, with Gafford playing so well in the starting lineup, Montrez, just another guy. They have a lot of guys. You know what I mean? They just have a lot of guys that literally are like 8-9 deep. In the playoffs, that's not the best situation. You know what I mean? In the playoffs, you shorten the lineups to 8 guys, but for the regular season, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of Bradley Beal, a lot of pressure off of Spencer Dinwiddie. So, maybe this is legit. We'll see. There's going to be ups and downs. They're not going to be on a 83% win percentage. You know what I mean? No team that I've mentioned is going to stay this hot, but, who knows? Speaking of hot, you have the Heat. Heat are legit. That's not really a surprise. You know what I mean? Got to give it to Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy right now is probably leading the MVP race. I think he's averaging like 27, 8 and 5 or something like that, or 27, 7 and 5, something like that. Playing really good defense, just leading this team. You know what I mean? Obviously, Kyle Lowry, I think, has played half the games. His shot hasn't found his shot. He still just adds another level of professionalism. And then Tyler Hero's playing really, really well. You know what I mean? Had a sophomore slump. That happens. Sophomore slumps are like things that happen in the NBA. Had a sophomore slump. It was a little bit different, right? Because in the bubble and that season was so weird. He was so hot. And I think that fame, it was different because his fame was really getting in front of what he actually had accomplished or offered in the NBA. And now in his third season, I think, he's come back down to earth. He's playing really, really well. They have a lot of good shooting, have a lot of depth. It's just the problem is, they got some old guys. You know what I mean? They have some old guys, and that's kind of what you're worried about. Bam is still getting bodied. Last year, somebody argued with me that Bam only ever got bodied once by Anthony Davis. I agreed to disagree. However, then I was watching the other night. I forgot who it was. Somebody drove right through him. I don't know if it was Cat or Julius Randle. I don't think they played the Knicks yet. Who was it? I don't know. It was somebody who just drove right through Bam. You know what I mean? Just drove right through him. Listen, it's no offense. Bam is good. It's not like I'm saying Bam is bad. Bam is really good defensive player. He's just really, got to give his credit, where he came in, what he was when he came into the NBA to what he is today, just as a credit to the Heat's Heat organization, just the Heat's player development. You know what I mean? Is really just off the hook. But my man gets bodied. He could use a little bit more muscle. Is all I'm saying. Right now, I'm not trying to offend any sensibilities here. Offend any sensibilities. Hornets, they played last night. Yeah, there's your answer. The Hornets did win yesterday. They beat the Blazers. So the Hornets have been playing pretty good basketball. They're another team with a ton of wings, entertaining as fuck to watch. Got to give it to Miles Bridges. I don't even understand. Who knows if this is going to continue, but my man is averaging 25, 8, and 2. 25, 8 rebounds and 2 assists. Who the hell knows if that's going to continue, but his shot looks great. I mean, he just jumps out of the gym. He's playing better defense. The Bridges brothers, even though they're not brothers, I keep calling them brothers. I've under the mistake. I've been under this false thing that they are brothers for the last 3 years. Mikal and Miles Bridges, they came into the same draft. They're Miles and Mikal. They play the same position. I just assumed, I just assumed that it was just, it was the Morris twins again. They said these aren't necessarily twins, but I just assumed, you know what I mean? I thought it was a fair assumption. They have no relation at all. None. They don't even know each other. I don't think they've ever met each other once. Maybe at the draft they met each other. They don't know each other. They don't associate with each other. They probably don't even fucking like each other. Who knows? But the Bridges brothers playing really good. Miles is playing good. You know what I mean? Miles looking like he's better than Mikal right now. Mikal, they get no relation, but I'm just going to relate them right now. Mikal last year took the leap and was better than Miles, but this year Miles has taken it back and is better than Mikal. You know what I mean? So who knows? They have a lot of guys. You know what I mean? Another team with a ton of depth. Obviously, you have LaMelo. Terry Rozier just came back. Ish Smith is playing great for them. I mean, Ish Smith just gives them positive minutes off the bench. There have been games where they've closed with LaMelo on the bench. You know what I mean? For those who don't know, LaMelo has had some, as good as LaMelo is, and I wish I would have thought about this, but Bill Simmons said this on his last basketball podcast that, LaMelo's kind of won the social media thing, and people don't realize that he'll get benched down the stretch in games because he takes awful shots. And it's like, yeah, he does. He takes awful shots sometimes. He makes really bad decisions, but because he has all of these fucking just every highlight and all these crazy passes, I'm sure, and I haven't checked yet, there was a play yesterday where he airballed this. All right, he crossed Robert Rocco, which whatever. He crosses Covington, step back jumper, and airballs it. He then complains for a foul, and credit to Del Curry and all the announcers that just want to ride or die for him. They're like, yeah, I mean, he obviously was fouled. When you watch the replay, he obviously was not fouled. The shot was clearly out of his hands for a good 2 seconds before a quote-unquote foul would have occurred, before Covington's hand made contact with his arm. That's not why he airballed it. He airballed it because Cov played okay, got a good contest, and it was just a bad shot. He got so hype on the move, he airballed the shot. But, sometimes they close the game with Ish Smith instead of LaMelo Ball. And it's just like, yeah. This idea that LaMelo's good, but don't get me wrong. LaMelo's good. He's going to be good. He's a good player. I'm not saying this is indicative of him, but just more indicative of how social media can paint this narrative for people's personal lives as well. And I'm not going to get into that right now, but just the point. And they're doing it for LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets. But with that said, they're entertaining as shit to watch. They have a ton of wings. Fucking Kelly Oubre's playing great. They barely even really need Gordon Hayward. Honestly, it's kind of the crazy thing. They barely need Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward helps. He provides a little stability. I'd have to really watch more to see, could you really just be without Gordon? Could you trade Gordon and Terry Rozier and get an upgrade at some position at center, let's say? Maybe, you move what's his face, you move Zeller not Zeller, what's his name? Who is their center? They just got him from the Pistons. Oh my goodness, escaping my mind. This is crazy. I have his face. Plumlee. You move Plumlee to the bench, and maybe you can get an upgrade at center by moving, you know what I mean? Moving a couple wings and getting something. You know what I mean? Just seems like a really, I don't know. It seems like a likely thing. I don't see why not. I don't see what Gordon necessarily provides. Again, I'd have to really watch more Hornets games, really, really paying attention to them. It's, kind of difficult, but We'll see. Obviously, we talk about the Sixers all the time. Raptors are playing solid. Listen, they're playing really good defense. It's not really a surprise. They play good defense every single year. I can't wait for them to play us. I mean, I'm lying. I can wait for them to play us. But when they play us, they're going to absolutely destruct our entire offense. Our offense is so easy to fucking read. They're going to come in and just crush our offense. Scotty Barnes right now, I would argue, is rookie of the year. You know what I mean? I love Chris Duarte, but fuck, Scotty Barnes, man. I don't even know. Somebody gave credit to the Raptors developmental staff because of Scotty Barnes' jumper, and I guess you can give them credit for that. But I mean, how? It's been a few months. He's been drafted 4 months, and all of a sudden he's coming in and he's just fucking Kawhi Leonard from jumpers, just sinking mid-range jumper after mid-range jumper, shooting well from three. His defense is phenomenal. He's just dunking on people because his arms are sick. He's all arms and just strong as shit. The other day against the Mavericks, I was joking around with someone that, you know, Maxi Kleber didn't come into the league to be considered strong enough to defend Kawhi just for Scotty Barnes to move him around wherever he wants him. You know what I mean? He didn't come here for that. It's wild. And they don't even have Pascal. Pascal hasn't even played yet. You know what I mean? And they're 4-3. Who knows where Pascal even fits? You know, what are you going to do? Honestly, essentially, Goran Dragic has been out of the lineup. So, you know, maybe there's a trade for them to make with Goran. Goran wants to end up with the Mavericks, which was always common sense. When the Mavericks traded Goran in the first place, I thought that didn't make any fucking sense at all. I thought that was dumb as shit. You know what I mean? Goran was the perfect point guard next to Luka, but whatever. You know, maybe that and Pascal can net you some other thing. You're playing KP at the 4. Maybe KP would be a better off in Toronto. You know what I mean? Because he's not a 4. He's a fucking center. Whatever. I don't know. You know, I don't know what the answer is. I just know that they have some trade pieces. If they don't want to keep Pascal, they don't really have to, or they can bring Pascal in and you start a lineup of Fred VanVleet, OG, Scotty, Pascal, and whoever the center is. I don't know who's playing center for them right now. I guess it's is it Aaron Baines? Whatever, Aaron Baines or Chris Boucher, the water boy. Whatever it is, you know what I mean? They just have guys and, you know, they're just going to be annoying. They're going to beat us for sure. The Nets up and down season so far. I mean, obviously, you know, I talked about this on the last podcast about James Harden kind of complaining about the officials. Same thing with Steve Kerr. And then the next game, he shot 19 free throws. So go figure. You know what I mean? I didn't see that game to know how he shot those 19 free throws, but they're going to be fine. The Nets are going to be fine. You know what I mean? They're going to be fine. I just find it hard to believe that any team that has Kevin Durant and James Harden you're just going to tell me they're not going to be good for a whole season. I find it hard to believe. I don't care that they don't have Kyrie. I think they're just going to be fine. You know what I mean? And I don't think they care what fucking seed they have, because any playoff you go into in the East right now, KD is the best player on that court. You know what I mean? Unless the argument is the Bucks. You know, and maybe you could use us as an argument, but I wouldn't right now. You know what I mean? I would say KD is probably still a clear level ahead of Joel. As much as I love Joel and as incredible as Joel is, he's still a level above Joel right now. It's Giannis and KD. So they're going to be fine. They beat the Pistons yesterday, whatever. They beat up on the Pistons. Who cares? We should have won that game. They should be 3-4. The Hawks are struggling a bit, just a bit. They started really, really good. They started, I think, 2-0, and then since they've been, been losing more games. 1-3 since, obviously. I think they lost to the Cavaliers. Obviously, they lost to us. They lost to did they lose to the Knicks? I can't remember. No, I don't think they lost to the Knicks. Trey has become the villain. You know what I mean? And with that comes a ton of responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. And there's a lot of responsibility on him being the villain now. You know what I mean? Like, everywhere you go, fans are going to be in you. He got a technical against us. And, it's just going to be more easy to spiral because you've embraced that villain role. And now you're going to eat it. And there is nobody who wants to watch you shooting free throws on bullshit calls. I'm sorry to tell you. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be fine. I think he probably has to get a little bit stronger so that when you're driving to the rim, because defenders are being a little bit more aggressive, if it's going to stay this way, you're going to have to actually try to finish. I think one of the things that's a little underrated about the rule changes isn't just like the stop foul, like all those weird fouls that they would draw. It's also the fact that they don't want to call fouls on shots that aren't shots. When you're just launching some bullshit in the air so you can draw contact. No, you have to actually be trying to make a shot, and they'll give you the foul on that benefit of the doubt. But you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt if you're just flailing your arms and the ball just launches somewhere. It's like that James Harden play that went viral last week. You know what I mean? Where he drives kind of to the free throw line and flails and launches the ball at the basket. It's like, that's not a real jump shot. Nobody ever wants to call fouls for bullshit jump shots. I'm sorry to tell you. You know what I mean? You can say whatever you want. I don't feel bad about this, because the real basketball, but not real basketball players. I shouldn't say that. These are real basketball players. But people give a fuck about defense, man. And it should, defenders should be rewarded for playing good defense, not for being in the wrong place at the wrong time because someone decided, I'm going to just run into your back and flail my arms up and get a foul call, because that's essentially where we're going. You know what I mean? That's where we were going. So hopefully it stays this way. I think basketball has been a lot better, a lot less whistles, a lot more fluid. You see some players are adapting more quick and are complaining less because the game is going. It's going. They're expecting a foul. The game is going. You know what I mean? So there's less complaint. It's just less complaining. Shit is just moving fast. So I think Trey will adapt. Listen, I'm not sitting here saying this is indicative of Trey, that he's not talented or whatever. I think he'll adapt, but you're just not going to get those bullshit calls. You know what I mean? And I think that's right, unfortunately for you. You know what I mean? Fortunately for you and your hairline, I believe that's right. The Bucks, a lot of injuries right now. You know what I mean? Obviously, they started the year good by beating the shit out of the Nets. But obviously, Drew got injured. He was out game 2, played game 3, and then he's been out since. Chris Middleton was out yesterday. There's just a lot of injuries. You know what I mean? The only person playing is Giannis. Go figure. You know what I mean? And it's not even go figure. Giannis is a tough son of a bitch and, is a super freak, but it's just like, it's the best player on the team. He's playing a ton. You know what I mean? So they'll be fine. There's no worry about the Milwaukee Bucks. It's just, a lot of injuries. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of injuries. It's a lot of basketball these guys played over the summer. They went, and then Drew and Chris, obviously they fly overseas and play, over there for Drew. And it's great for them, but Drew, someone who's always injured, kind of like not the best case scenario. You figured it's probably going to be up and down all season for him with injuries. You know what I mean? You almost are afraid of that being the case. So, we'll see. Giannis, obviously, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. I wouldn't even concern myself. The Cavaliers have been playing, interesting basketball. Are they playing good? I wouldn't go so far. They also have a lot of interesting guys. Colin Sexton thinks he deserves to get paid, like Trae Young deserves to get paid, and, he doesn't. Cool out, Colin. Another one who I've seen finish games on the bench. Darius, just a lot of okay. I don't really know I haven't watched enough Cavaliers basketball to really give you a great indication on what the fit is between Garland and Sexton. You know what I mean? Except that when I do watch it, I do feel like I'm watching one guy try to play point guard and another guy who is really, really intense and maybe not making anyone else better on the court. And that's kind of how I feel about Colin Sexton. He's a good scorer. He works his ass off on defense. He has a ton of heart. The step for him is to really, truly become a point guard. You know what I mean? And I've heard that there's been improvements. There was a good play the other day where he was open-ish for a three-point shot, and it was a shot that last year he for sure would have tried to shoot. And this year he ended up passing up for a corner three. And I think it was an assist. I think that person made it. But, learning that is an important thing. You know what I mean? When you're younger, you got the ball in your hands all the time. You have to learn those lessons, how to get your guys involved. Evan Mobley is showing signs of is just going to be a defensive force. You know what I mean? He's not going to listen. If he ends up guarding Joe, it's going to be a long day for him at any point. He's not going to be able to guard Joe. He just isn't strong enough. But I mean, his length, his anticipation on defense is incredible. He's just in the right position every single time. You know what I mean? It's how I felt when I watched Joe year one, where it was just like, this dude is just always in the right spot. Doesn't matter. He's just always going to be in the right spot. The Celtics are struggling. A ton of stories coming out. Not stories, but just, prognosticating about who's better. Can they really play with Tatum and Jalen? Because right now, you're seeing games where Tatum comes out and scores 40, then Jalen comes out and scores 40. But on those games, one person has a shitty game. You know what I mean? The other day, Tatum, against the Wizards, Tatum had an awful game. Had an awful game. And it's like, what's the thing here? Because they don't have a point guard. This was a problem. This is a problem. You gave Marcus Smart that money to play point, but he's not a point guard. You need a point guard. Someone who can get you in to your sets and do all of those things. That shit is so important. You know what I mean? As Sixers fans are noticing why, and Maxey, I think, has been getting better at it, but now the Celtics don't have that. You know what I mean? So you don't have a point guard. You have two guys who kind of play the same position. They're kind of redundant. You know what I mean? Is it going to fit? To me, I don't see why you can't fit. It's going to take coaching. It's going to take coaching to get these guys on the same page. You know what I mean? I don't know what that looks like. I'm kind of spitting this shit out there like, how can you make it better? And that's kind of how I feel. So Pistons are trash. Not much to say. Cade Cunningham came back. They won the game that he came back, and then he sat out yesterday, not playing back-to-backs. To be determined. The Magic, not much to say. Cole Anthony grabbed 16 rebounds the other day, which was kind of weird. Jalen Suggs is struggling from the field. Franz Wagner looks good. He looks good. The Pacers struggling, a lot of injuries. Brogdon's been out the last couple games. They got Karis LeVert back yesterday. Just a lot of redundancy. I love Chris Duarte. I don't know what else to say about this team. Kind of some bad lucks, bad breaks. They probably need TJ Warren back sooner than later so they can get some more consistent scoring. I don't think Karis LeVert helps them that much, but, what have you. You know what I mean? Some bad luck there. They've had some tough breaks, honestly. They've had some tough losses. In the West, listen, the Jazz are coming for the over. I listened to a podcast talking about the over-unders, and the one dude didn't want to take the Jazz over, and I thought that was crazy. I mean, the Jazz are famous for getting overs. You know what I mean? They're famous for being the one seed in the West. For the last 30 years, they've been doing this, and they just don't have what it takes to win a championship. I don't think anything is different this time. I don't want to see any list that has Rudy Gobert as the MVP. I keep seeing a list where Rudy Gobert is the number one MVP. No, he is not. No. If he's the MVP, you need to go back in time and give Kawhi Leonard the MVP the year that the first one that James Harden won, give Kawhi that MVP. Otherwise, Rudy, you will never win MVP in my reality. Never. Golden State's playing really, really well. A lot of guys. Steph has not scored in the fourth quarter. I wonder if that changed. I heard that stat. I think that was their fifth game. I heard the stat that he had not scored in the fourth quarter yet. I'm guessing that changed. Who knows? His scoring is a tick down, but it's just that people are the double, triple teams that are happening to Steph are just out of this world, and they're just relying on other guys to score, and it's working out. You know what I mean? Jordan Poole, I said if we were going to trade Ben to them, and we had to take Draymond Green back, I'm not doing it without getting Jordan Poole back and some picks. You know what I mean? And Jordan Poole's proving me right. He's playing really, really well. Played really well in preseason. He's playing really well so far in the regular season. They just got Kuminga back. I think Moody hasn't really been in the starting lineup. You're still waiting for Wiseman to come back. Clay should be back in January-ish time. And, if you're going to be playing this well, they're not going to maintain this pace, but if you're going to be playing anywhere near this well, you figure when Clay comes back, it's only going to go up from there, right? If it's up there, it's stuck there. Nuggets up and down season. They've essentially been going on 2-game win streaks, I believe, like 2 streaks. So they won 2 games in a row. They lost 2 games in a row, and now they just won 2 games in a row again. Just up and down, trouble scoring. You know what I mean? They're just not scoring a ton. Michael Porter, people were expecting him to come in scoring 25 a game. He's not. So we'll see. He's going to have to figure that out. Got that big contract, but is also maybe anti-vax. Who knows? Not sure. They need Jamal Murray back. Obviously, he helps them a lot. When it's time to get a bucket, it's time to break down the defense, they need Jamal. You know what I mean? Jamal is better than Ben. I don't even know why I said that. I just said that because Bleacher Report is not good at what they do. The Mavericks, another up and down team. Trouble scoring in a lot of games. They won yesterday, beat the Kings. The Kings have been frisky. They beat the Kings yesterday. Luka hit a big 3-point shot from half court, a little bit below, right next to the logo. Really kind of was the nail in the coffin on that game yesterday. KP has been injured for the last 3 games, I believe. It's just been up and down, and Luka looks out of shape. Honestly, he's just out of shape. Every season, all of his stats are down across the board right now, and I bet in a month from now we'll forget that they were down. You know what I mean? It's kind of how I feel. I don't know what to make of this Mavericks team. Honestly, I have no idea. They have a lot of guys. I just feel like when I'm watching them, they should be better than they are. It's kind of how I feel. It looks no different. Their offense looks no different with Jason Kidd running the offense than it looked like when Rick Carlisle was there. So go figure. Timberwolves are really frisky. They're playing really, really well. Good for them. They're round. They went from round to raw. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Cat is a cat round from raw. You know what I mean? Good for him. D'Lo's playing really well. They have a lot of guys. You know what I mean? This dude is becoming one of my favorite just people to watch. I mean, just the athleticism is out of this. What is his name? I can't remember his name. The shooting guard that they drafted last year. He was a rookie last year. His face is in my mind. Anthony Edwards. Just a freak athletically. I mean, just a bounce is wild. Every one of his post-game interviews are hilarious. He's always cursing. He's always calling someone a motherfucker, and it's fucking great. And I love him. And the Timberwolves, this team, they're finally a little bit fun to watch. You know what I mean? People have been waiting for them to be fun to watch for like 4 years, and now they're finally fun to watch. Cat has made an effort to be more physical, and it's shown. You know what I mean? It's a good start for them. We'll see. You know what I mean? Hopefully this is not similar to when Boogie had that one year where they had a good start with the Kings, and then they fire Mike Malone and everything goes left and all this shit. Hopefully this isn't that. You know, I would like to see Cat. I think Cat is a supremely talented big man. Is he as good as Joe? No. Is he supremely talented? Absolutely. Cat is the third best center in the NBA, in my opinion, has the ceiling of the third best center. You could argue Bam is the third best center because what he does leads to wins. He helps. He's in the playoffs constantly. It's a little overblown. Obviously, teammates have a lot to do with that. But when it comes to talent, I think Cat is probably the third most talented center in the NBA behind Joe and Joker. You know what I mean? So hopefully he's kind of put that together. Need his defense to be better and to stay better. We'll see. D'Angelo hit a big 3-pointer the other day and then did the ice in his veins thing. That was pretty cool. The little throwback. Lakers are not fun to watch at all. They're fun to watch. They're only fun to watch because you get to watch how many times LeBron doesn't come back on transition defense or on transition offense, how many times he just stands in the backcourt and watches his team in utter disgust and disappointment. You know what I mean? He's just watching like, what the fuck what have I gotten myself into with this Russ thing? It's not good. But Carmelo Anthony has dialed the clock back. You know what I mean? He is scoring up a ton. You know what I mean? Almost single-handedly putting the team on his back, really, and providing a scoring punch off the bench. There's too much relying on Malik Monk. It just isn't pretty. You know, it just isn't pretty. The Russ LeBron thing isn't pretty. They did not put AD at the 5 like they said they would, which is absolutely ridiculous. AD, you're a fucking center. Grow up. You're actually making the team worse because you have DeAndre Jordan playing significant minutes. You have Dwight Howard playing significant minutes. That can't go good. It's just not going to go well. Kings, I said, are frisky. Harrison Barnes, I've been sending out little trivia things to a couple of my friends, and Harrison Barnes was my most recent trivia. He's averaging 25, 10, and 3 assists a game, which is not going to keep going, but whatever. You know, it was pretty cool little nugget for him. Tyrese Halliburton looks like he's taking a little step back, you know, a sophomore slump. Like I mentioned about Tyler Hero, people go through sophomore slumps. I think he's going through one. His jumper is hideous also. That's all I have to say. I hate his jump shot. I'm kind of running out of time here. I want to speed through this. The Trailblazers up and down. Dame is playing awful. He's just playing awful. Yesterday, he was 1 of 11 for 3 at one point. His numbers, I mean, he's awful for him. He's averaging 19 and 9. Great for any other player in the NBA. Awful for him. I don't even know what to make of the Trailblazers. Honestly, I don't know what to make. Covington is awful. Watching him, yeah, he's just bad. Yeah, almost. But he's not unplayable, but I mean, he's almost unplayable, honestly. The Grizzlies started really, really hot. They've come back down to earth a bit. Ja's playing incredibly well. You know what I mean? I think he's averaging like probably 27 and 10 right now, something like that, something in that range. It was higher a week ago, but then in the losses, his points have been dropping a bit. But they're playing really, really well. Jaren Jackson obviously came back. His jumper is also hideous. I hate his jump shot, but it's wet, whatever. But, you know, they're just not as good as people expected them. Same thing with the Suns. They're not as good as people expected them to be. They should have extended DeAndre Ayton. Now the owners got caught as a racist, which is not a surprise. A lot of these guys are fucking racist. And it's just not – this is not pretty right now for the Suns. I'll be honest with you. It's not pretty for them. I haven't watched the Suns enough, just been paying attention a little bit, kind of, you know, in the what's the word? When you whatever you get it. And I just, not a ton to make of the Suns. I think they beat the Clippers the other day, which isn't much. The Clippers aren't good right now. The Spurs have been somewhat frisky. I think they just beat the Bucks, if I'm not mistaken. They did. Yeah, I am not mistaken, because I bet on the Bucks, and then the Bucks lost like assholes. DeJounte was my first guy I sent out on a trivia. He's averaging 19, 9, and 9 for the season, which is incredible. Wish we had him. Could have had him, but he was not a quote unquote game changer, according to Daryl Morey, who TikTok motherfucker. Clippers are not playing well. Paul George is playing great. I think he's averaging 28, 7, and 4, something like that, or 28, 10, and 4, something like that. But they just don't have the guys without Kawhi there. It's almost incredible to think that even with Kawhi there, that they're going to be good all of a sudden. They just don't look good right now watching them. The Rockets, Thunder, and Pelicans. I mean, they just put them all in one. If you put all three of those teams in one team and just took the best 12 players, they'd be 2-4 right now, probably. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about those three teams altogether. It'd be SGA, I guess, Jalen Green, and what's his face, Kevin Porter Jr., Jonas Valanciunas, Christian Wood. I guess that's an okay starting five. And then the bench, Alex Giddey, Eric Gordon. Oh, Brandon Ingram's there. I'm sorry. Brandon Ingram is your starting three. I'm sorry. That's a good team. Okay, that's a good team. I'm sorry. That would not be it's still okay. It'd be 3-3. It's still not going to be good, but it'd be okay. It'd be okay. It'd be respectable. Zion don't look good. He's putting on weight. It's not a good look for him. It's not a good look for him. Hopefully he figures that out. You know what I mean? As someone who obviously had my own struggles with weight, has my own struggles with weight. You know what I mean? It's not a pretty look. It's hard to play basketball if your weight is fluctuating. It's really, really difficult. Injuries are going to happen more and more as your weight fluctuates. One day you're a little bit heavier than the day before, and you go out there and play basketball, all of a sudden your feet are suffering. He's going to take some time. He's going to have to figure that out. I put it this way. Every time I see a list that ranks the top whatever guys under a certain age, under 25, right, whatever, the top 10 young guys, and Zion is number 2 behind Luka, I have to rethink that. You know what I mean? I almost would say remove Zion from consideration because it's incomplete. You know what I mean? It's incomplete. If you want to keep him in there, he's not 2, 3, or 4, or 5. I'm not taking him over John Morant right now. I'm not taking him over Trae Young right now. I'm not taking him over Luka, obviously, over Jason Tatum, obviously. Is Jalen? Jalen might be 26. Yeah, I'm not taking him over a lot of those guys. I think that's kind of wild. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of wild. I'm not taking him over SGA. Why? Why would I? You know what I mean? Why would I? I don't see it. I don't get it. So, yeah, that's it. I sped through everything. I'm glad I did. That's it, everyone. Wash your hands. Stay safe. Again, we play the Pacers, the Trailblazers tonight. I feel like that should be a win. We'll see. With our luck, Dan will rediscover his shooting touch against us. Everyone, wash your hands. You know the drill. Stay safe. Get vaccinated. Black Lives Matter. Arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. Stop Asian hate. Just stop being a dick. Stop being a douchebag. A fucking douchebag, huh? Stop being. I'm sorry. As I do an offensive Italian trope from New York. I watched the Sopranos movie, so I'm kind of like, hey, gabagoo. I'm sorry. That's it, everyone. Stay safe. Take care.
Yeah. Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind. Used to come